In some circles, I'm actually known as the self-concept guy. Now, how did I get this lofty distinction? Wouldn't you like to know? We hear people use terms like low self-esteem, but we never hear anyone use the term low self-concept. So you can suffer from low self-esteem, but can you suffer from low self-concept? Now, the reason why I say that, and I mean, it's pretty obvious, we don't think of or use that word self-concept that way, but the truth is that a lot of people lump these two words together as if they mean the same thing. Low self-esteem and low self-concept, or just self-esteem and self-concept. Very few people even know how to distinguish between the two, which is what we're going to go into in this video. We're also going to go into why this is important, but before I do that, if you find yourself liking this video, make sure you click that like button, and if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button as well, and the bell so you'll be notified when I put new videos out. And also, I'm gonna go ahead and give this out up front, I will be doing a live free training coming up, and you will want to get in on this as soon as possible. It is free, it is live. You're going to get a ton of good training in this free training, and how you're going to sign up is by going to the description right here down below and clicking that link. If you want to do that now, you can, but make sure you come back to this video, and I will talk a little bit more about what that training is going to be about at the end of this video. Let's distinguish between what self-concept is and what self-esteem is, and I will also talk about is if there actually is one better than the other, which one should you focus on, and just in general what these things really are and why they are important. So let's talk about self-concept. Self-concept is also known as your ego or your self-image. Now, the reason why we don't refer to it as that in the trainings that I do is because ego tends to have a very negative connotation to it. We say a person has too much ego, or it's all ego driven. And even though technically speaking, the ego is sort of the idea of yourself, the idea you have about yourself, which is technically what the self-concept is, it still sounds negative. So we'd rather not use that. And then this idea of like self-image, that's usually what we're referred to as self-concept, but it's more than an image. There's a lot more information going in there than an image. Now, I think a lot of people think of that as kind of a metaphorical thing, even though most people do or can access images of themselves, and that's how they think of themselves. It's kind of metaphorical. So self-concept is a very clean term that is all-encompassing, meaning it's more than just the visuals you have about yourself. It's all of the information that you have about yourself. It's the concept of you. It's the idea you have of yourself. You might be thinking, well, why do we need an idea about ourselves? Why can't we just sort of be? And that's a question that's been trying to be answered for probably thousands of years. That's kind of what Zen Buddhism is about, and non-duality, which is great. This idea of, well, just being, don't indulge in the idea of yourself. But no matter who you are, and it doesn't matter if you're a sage, a saint, or what, Buddha themselves, all of us have a concept of who we are. Now, we could say, you might be very spiritual and you don't indulge in that concept, you don't try to boost that concept or lay too much importance on that concept, and that's all good stuff, that's fine. But we all have an idea of ourselves, and one way that we know that is because we have a personality, and that personality is really driven by the idea we have of ourselves, the concept that we have of ourselves. Another word that we can use other than concept is belief, the belief of who we are. Who do we believe ourselves to be? We could also use another term, generalization. It really all means the same thing. And so a lot of times I use these words interchangeably, and I get questions, well, what's the difference between a generalization and a belief? And really there is no difference. And when we're talking about self-concept, I'm not saying really anything different than self-belief, or the generalization you have about yourself is what I refer to as self-concept. Now, this is not the same thing as believing in yourself. I've already done a video about that. This idea of like, well, you have to believe in yourself. That's not the same thing when I say self-concept is the same as the belief of who you are. So most people refer to believing in yourself as believing you can do something or believing you're a worthy person. And that's what I'm not getting into that right now. I'll get into a little bit of that when I talk about self-esteem. Just know that self-concept is all this information you have about yourself and the beliefs you formulate about yourself that then comes together one big, broad, general belief of who you are. concept. The self-concept, the belief about yourself, is composed of many smaller beliefs about yourself. It's the beliefs that you have about what you can do, what you can't do, what you're good at, what you're not good at, what you like, what you don't like. You put all those beliefs together and it forms one bigger generalization we call self-concept. What we get when we think of self-concept is a massive belief, and it, like I said, it's the belief that comprises all of the beliefs that you have about yourself. So this thing is huge, and this is why it makes it very difficult to change. When you think about wanting to change yourself and doing things to change yourself, and this is what personal development is all about. It's tough because we're bumping up against this huge, enormous, generalized, very vague belief about what we call self. And this is why most people think of change as being so difficult. Now, change is not actually difficult if you know what you're doing. Change is not difficult if you know the intricacies of change. The two things that make change difficult is going at self-concept directly, your sense of self directly, the who you are, to change it without chunking it down to the smaller beliefs about who you are. So it's the know-how, it's knowing how to do this. The other part is the resistance to doing it. If you don't address the resistance, it's going to feel like you're going to war with yourself, or you're pushing against yourself, or you're trying to beat up a part of yourself or overpower a part of yourself, and that's not going to work out very well for you. So that's why change seems to be difficult. It's a lot of big generalizations, and unless we chunk them down, we don't really know how to change our self-concept. And if there's resistance there to it as well, and we don't address it properly, again, change becomes very difficult and drains a lot of your energy. So that's self-concept. Let's talk about self-esteem. Self-esteem is how you feel about yourself. It's how you feel about your self-concept. It's how you feel about the idea of yourself. It's how you feel about the belief of who you are. It's how you feel about the concept of you, the idea of you, the generalization about you. Now, here's a very important thing to know. You cannot go at self-esteem directly to increase it, but there's no shortage of people who are trying to do that, and there's no shortage of products, books out there in personal development and self-help that will try to teach you to do that. And most, if not all of them, are flat out wrong about their approach to it. And it just doesn't work. It doesn't work because you cannot go at self-esteem directly. Yes, you can give yourself a little bit of a boost, but it won't stick around. People will try to do this through affirmations. It's probably the most common way to do this, to tell yourself, try to convince yourself that you feel better about yourself than what you actually do, or that you are this ideal version of yourself, which you don't believe that you are because you haven't gone to the level of self-concept to change it. So it's this trying to like pretend you're more than what you are, you're better than what you are. And that won't stick around because there's always a part of you that just won't believe it until you change that belief. Until you change your beliefs, you won't be able to change your self-esteem. Until you change the concept of who you are, how you feel about who you are will not change. So going at self-esteem directly does not work. Like I said, even the people, some of you listening to this will hear what I'm saying and you'll still try to do it anyway. And it will be just as frustrating because it doesn't work. I also know NLPers who will try to boost their self-esteem by anchoring a state of confidence. Again, you will get something temporary out of that, but it will not be lasting. And if it's not lasting, then it really doesn't work. And then that's when frustration follows that. So don't try to go at self-esteem directly. There is a way to do this. The way to do it is to change yourself at the self-concept level, change your belief about yourself, and then your self-esteem will automatically change. And an example of this is take something you value. If you value love and you value being a loving person and you believe you are a loving person, your self-esteem will go up. When you act in loving ways, you will feel good about yourself. That's your self-esteem. When you act in ways that goes against that, when you violate this value that you value of being loving and you do something mean, your self-esteem will go down. If you believe you're a loving person in general, even if you make mistakes, you believe it that you are, even when you make mistakes, you're still going to have a very solid, strong sense of self, which will give you a strong and solid sense of self-esteem. You will like yourself because you are what you value. The same thing goes for any of your other values. If you value kindness and you do kind things, you will feel good about yourself. Now, here's the tricky part. Let's say you value kindness, You do something that's kind, you feel good about yourself, but overall, you don't believe that you're a kind person, or you're in doubt about that. This will keep your self-esteem low. Now, when it comes to things like success and achievement, we can value these things. We can value success. When we do something successful, self-esteem goes up. But if overall we believe we're not successful, your self-esteem is going to be low. Your confidence is going to be low. But if you believe you are a successful person, then you're basing this on real experiences. And trust me, you have more than enough experience to feel like a successful person. A lot of people say, well, no, I don't think so much that I'm an unsuccessful person. I just haven't done anything really successful. That's believing that you're not a very successful person. Trust me, you have plenty of experiences, and you've got to look at the small stuff. The small stuff counts. Getting up in the morning, it's a success. Completing high school, it's a success. Completing college, it's a success. So count all of these successes. When you believe you are something like successful, you will do more successful things. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You will need to align to that belief about yourself. And this is what's so powerful about this. And because you do successful things, you will feel even better about yourself. You will feel more confident about being successful. So you will have less fear about trying more things to be more and more successful. So you will do more. And when you do more, your chances of succeeding will be more. So that will start to compound on itself. And the more you succeed, the more confident and good you feel about that. So the more you will do. Now, there's a lot of people who try to do I just did a video on fake it till you make it. Either the fake it till you make it, or do they try to use affirmations, or they're trying to fake this. They're trying to fake the self-esteem. They're trying to fake the confidence. They're trying to just anchor in confidence. These people actually have a very shaky sense of self, a shaky sense of self-concept, a weak self-concept. And now they're in fear that, okay, I'm convincing myself, I'm faking being successful. I'm trying to convince myself that I'm successful. Those people won't try much because they're in fear that they might fail. And if they fail, then that will contradict their desire, not their belief, but their desire to be a successful person. It will contradict the fakeness. It will contradict them trying to appear to be successful. And so then they won't do much. They won't take many risks. And as a result, they won't actually ever be successful. But if you can create the belief about your sense of self, that you are in fact a successful person, even when you make mistakes, even when you fail, you will continuously do more. You will have more confidence about this. You will feel good about yourself. And because of all those things, you will do more. And because you do more, you will succeed more. And then again, it just compounds on itself, being more successful, being more confident about that, feeling good about yourself because of that, and so doing more and more and more. At this point, you're probably asking, okay, how do I do this? How do I change the beliefs about myself? How do I change my self-concept so that I am more confident and I like myself more and I feel better about myself? There is a model, an NLP model, called the self-concept model. It is absolutely the most powerful NLP model there is. I've studied many NLP models. This one by far is the most powerful, because when you change the belief about yourself, it changes everything. It changes the world around you. All of your beliefs about everything are informed through the belief about yourself. Your beliefs about the world, your beliefs about other people, your beliefs about opportunities available to you, all pass through first the belief about yourself. So when you change the belief about yourself, your self-concept, it changes your reality. You will experience reality differently. You will see opportunities you didn't see before. You will see in the world the values that you value most highly, because you become that. You become those values as certain and solid qualities of who you are. The man who created this model, his name is Steve Andreas. He unfortunately has passed away a few years ago. He was my mentor. This model is the basis of all of my training. It's the basis of all of the one-on-one coaching that I do. It's the basis of everything that I teach, because it is such a powerful model. Also, I am the only person he ever endorsed to teach it before he passed away. I spent years with him learning this model, mastering this model, doing the work on myself, doing the work with clients, now teaching it and actually certifying coaches. If you want to get a free live introductory course on this model, that's what I'm offering in the description right here down below. If you go to the description, you will see a link. Click that link and you can enroll. It's a 3-part live training. We'll be doing it over 3 days. We'll also be doing it at different times, so no matter where in the world you are, you will be able to do this training so that you won't have to wake up at like 3 in the morning. There will be a time that you can do this training. So make sure you sign up when we do this free stuff. A lot of times it fills up because it is free. You will walk away with a plan. You will walk away with a whole new understanding of yourself and the world around you, and you will feel the difference by the time this training's done. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, and I can't imagine why you haven't done this already, if you haven't done this already, click that subscribe button and the bell so you'll be notified when I put new videos out. And last but not least, if you can think of a friend or a family member who could really benefit from this video, make sure you share it with them. Take care.